Welcome to Crane's Barn Grill, and on this one we're watching, it's going to be Jordan Lynn Graham, another kind of Black Widow situation, and so got my rum and coke, and I've got my popcorn. All right, let's see what this one's about. All right.
They vowed to love and cherish each other till death do they part. But nobody could have imagined
death do they
Cody
part.
Johnson and his bride, Jordan Graham, would part so soon. Cody mysteriously vanishing just 8 days after their wedding.
It's weird how normal people can look like that at the wedding, and then 8 days later, but they look just so. Because you always think a murderer's got to look like something, but they don't. They look just like normal, everyday people.
A country
Look
town
any
known
different
as the
most of the
gateway
time.
to the majestic Glacier National Park in the heart of the Rocky Mountains.
She was a good girl.
And Cody was
She was a good
guy.
girl.
He was so funny, very caring, kind-hearted. He was madly in love with her.
Cody was
That's the problem. You can't be madly in love. You got to have a little bit of perspective so you can see, because you can really find someone that's dangerous, or find somebody that, find somebody that can ruin your life if you don't have a little bit of perspective, a little bit of thing to see if they're a bad person. Because there's signs. There's always signs. They're clouded.
24 and Jordan 21 when they met, and they shared the same dream of raising a family.
But most of all, he liked to make people happy. And he was really good at doing it too.
Of course, he's always the best person in the world. He probably had a smile that lit up a room also, I bet. More than likely.
She was very shy, very quiet, didn't have much to say, just sort of reserved.
He put a lot into the relationship that she didn't put back. He always wanted to hang out with her, and she would always make an excuse not to.
It almost sounds like she's someone who's so nice or something that she lets people run over her, maybe?
I never seen them hold hands.
And then
When we were together,
pressured after they got married
I
and then
never
got rid of
seen
him?
them
But
kiss.
why would you
I
bring...
never seen them flirt.
Yeah, see, with his side, you can't fall in love so much you don't see the signs that she doesn't really love you, or she doesn't really want to be there. Why would she accept?
I think she liked the idea of being married and having a wedding. I don't think she was excited for the planning part, I think, not the actual wedding. Whenever that would come up, she would get kind of irritated.
Or something happened to her in her childhood to where, she didn't really want to be touched or kissed or something.
And I told her that I couldn't answer that question for her. I told her that if you have second thoughts about this, you need to talk to him about it.
Or at least talk to somebody about it.
She was kind of like shaking her head, like just bawling, like hysterically down the aisle. And when she got up there, she didn't look at him in the eyes. She was standing there holding his hand, and she was looking down at the ground.
That's partially his fault too. He shouldn't be so in love with somebody.
Watching her face just looked like something was going to happen.
Bride and groom danced to a song Jordan had recorded with her own voice.
And it was talking about how you climb to a higher place, and then you fall, but you're still
That's
mine.
weird. That's weird.
And the morning after her wedding night with Cody, Jordan is beyond reluctant.
To do. So much happened last night. I just don't know.
Last night at the wedding or last night at the room?
Being married and after the wedding.
What happened after?
I'd rather talk about what happened, not text about it.
She came over and she laid on the couch and she just cried. She wouldn't tell me why. She wouldn't say
Don't say
anything.
that you're going to ruin everybody's life instead of just being honest. Instead, let's ruin several families, friends, and everybody's life.
I just know he's going to want to do stuff, and I'm not really wanting to.
And another.
Using the my period started spiel tonight. I freaking hope it works. Because if I'm forced to do something, I'm going to freak out.
What did you think was going to happen when you got married?
Cody and Jordan ever had sex?
I honestly don't think they did.
Jordan and Cody ever consummate their marriage?
She told me no.
That's something you should have discussed ahead of time, and so everybody's on the same page.
Suddenly
But-
over. When Cody mysteriously goes missing.
I was just shocked. It was totally out of character for him not to show
I find
up
it
at
easier to kill
work.
somebody than to be honest with somebody. I find it easier to kill somebody than to tell them, hey, I just don't want to marry you. That's crazy. Just tell people up front. People get over it. It's like a Band-Aid. Pull it off.
She said that she seen him leave with some buddies in a black car at Washington Plates.
I got a message saying that he was going to go for a ride with some of his out-of-town buddies that were visiting. I have no idea who they were, but he always told me this one thing is when his friends came to visit, he would take them to Glacier Park.
You guys weren't having any kind of argument?
No.
She just became more agitated the more we asked.
At one point,
What'd you
Kimberly
expect?
says Jordan becomes so upset, she takes off her wedding ring and flings it across the room.
I was confused
She's just trying to make sure you know she's guilty because they're stupid.
and didn't know what happened to him. I asked, what is going on? Why are your stories different? Why can't you seem to tell the truth? And I told her that we were done talking until this was all figured out.
I'm getting some inconsistencies in what you're telling me with other information that I've already gathered, okay? And
Which
I've
means you're
spoke
lying.
to a few people, and it's important
Because we're asking you questions, some of them we already know the answers to, and you're lying.
to tell me the truth on things.
That's what I know.
Well,
I mean,
and I understand that, okay? But I think that there's more.
She had a story to tell. Her story wasn't adding up.
And she says, look, I got this email and Cody's dead.
Tony's email reads in part, "Hello, Jordan. My name is Tony. There is no bother looking for Cody anymore. He's gone."
And I'm like freaking out.
Really? That's the email somebody sends?
And it says, Cody's gone, Jordan.
Any emotion?
No. She wasn't crying at all. She was just showing me this email and I start shaking. And I told her to go to the cops and she did so. But I was kind of just like rushing it, like, go, move.
Well, it's because she's already come to terms with it because she's known he's been dead for a long time, so it's not a hurry to her.
The email that she provided to us stated that these unknowns that he had taken off with, as well as this Tony person, had seen him fall from a cliff. She was given explicit instructions.
Well, they didn't
to
tell
the police
anybody?
to call off the search. There was no more need to search for him. And I think at that point she expected us to just walk away from it.
Lead Detective Corey Clark
Because
of Kalispell PD.
other police would have already called them if they'd known that, because I'm sure the people that were with him told the cops.
Very affected by this or bothered.
She's psycho. She's a psycho.
The drive up there was her.
So her friend
waving her
said,
hand out
so
the
somebody says
window,
she's just dead and they left him there?
wearing his sunglasses.
Was she driving his car?
Yeah. Acting like nothing happened. Dancing, laughing.
When they get up there,
That's
Jordan's search party picks
psycho.
up missing posters and looks for possible places from which Cody might have fallen.
I did most of the work.
Somebody already said you followed him. Wouldn't they have gone to the cops and they would have already found him? Why are you having to search?
I was like, what about here? What about here, Jordan? Like, let's go here. And she's like, no, I just know this spot where I just think that he is. We have to go.
She went nuts. She did something. Now she's feeling guilty and she's ready to get caught.
I think he's down there. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Her
Why
brain's
would
making her
he
get caught.
ever be going down there? Why would anybody do that? This wall is here for a reason. She knew exactly how to get down there. She did it like a pro.
And Jordan quickly spots a body lying at the
course.
bottom of the ravine.
It's almost like your brain wants you to get caught. You know?
There he is. And I was like, what? I was like, no way. I was like, no way.
One of the things she said was that the Holy Spirit led her to know where he was. And that's
No, the Holy Spirit led you to get caught. That's what that did.
Corey Clark as very odd.
she said it was a place he wanted to see before he died.
How would you know where it was? That means he hadn't seen it before. Oh, God.
Cody's body is right where Jordan said it was.
In this pristine area at the bottom of a waterfall, you know, with a huge cliff looming above him.
But Cody's body isn't a pretty sight.
Anytime you're having to recover a body that has fallen 300 plus feet off a cliff.
Yeah, it's not going to look good. Yeah. Another reason I couldn't be a police officer. Yeah. They could have been animals or anything.
That the way he fell was head first. He had injuries to both arms, to his head.
Friends and family are devastated when they get the tragic news about Cody.
How did she get him off the cliff, though?
Cody Johnson was a kind, loving, wonderful young man that I miss a lot. And he was a wonderful person.
He shouldn't have been so obsessive with his love and step back a little bit. I didn't deserve it.
Life. He did not deserve to be murdered.
And Cody's best friend, Jeremiah Herbold, is so overcome with grief as we talk that we have to stop the interview.
Maybe some other people also should have talked to, like, his friend, as I said, she don't really loves you. Can you not see that? I mean, she doesn't even want to step back here for a second. You know? Sometimes you got to be a friend, you got to tell them the truth. You know?
I never realized what he actually did for me until he was gone.
But the only emotion a dry-eyed Jordan is showing appears to be relief.
She mentioned, now that we have the body, we can have the funeral and the cops can be out of it.
She's a moron. She's a psychopath.
They are now in disbelief at how carefree and unmoved she is at his funeral.
The funeral service is going on, and she was on her phone. I was upset.
She's on her phone? Really? Like I said, there's like something in your brain that makes you want to get caught.
But what was going on with her?
It was a defining moment for Kimberly Martinez.
She's not even thinking, how do I get away with
Jordan's
this?
Matron of honor.
So either she's a complete and utter moron, or like I said, seems like a lot of times there's something in your brain that wants you to get caught. You'll make mistakes and do something that makes you get caught. So
Kimberly wasn't the only one.
Everybody was looking at her like, you did this. Everybody knew.
Including the cops, who had
it's got to prove it. Yeah, it's got to get some evidence.
Arrest her for the murder of her new husband right there at his funeral if they
Do we
had
get to see
wanted.
any of the evidence?
And Jordan didn't have a clue.
She thought everything was going to be okay. She didn't think that she was going to get in trouble.
Through subpoenas, we found that the email was generated at her stepfather's house. Eventually found out that Jordan wrote it herself.
It's going to be one of the easiest cases.
At first, Jordan Graham tried to tell investigators she wasn't with her husband. One big problem with that, of course, is this surveillance camera.
Either people have seen him or they're...
Description of Cody's, you can see two
Or it's got a
occupants
camera.
inside, look like Jordan and Cody.
Cell phone tower records also placed Jordan and Cody in the park that night.
Subpoena the...
Oh, he took her
records
phone with
from
him.
Her cell phone company, and you get time frames and time stamps.
And she stood in a room with me and two other federal agents, and she was informed she was under arrest for the murder of her husband. She didn't even flinch. There wasn't even an emotion.
Until Jordan is confronted with...
God, man, that she's not going home.
Down and cried.
And then she tells all to the FBI, admitting in this audio recording that she hadn't been happy in their 8-day marriage.
That doesn't mean you get to kill somebody.
We waited a little bit longer. And then
You could divorce them. You kill them.
Jordan also admits she...
I wasn't feeling like I was on cloud 9, so I guess I get to kill him.
And it was decided they would go to Glacier National Park. Her and Cody then went to the park, proceeded up to the loop, and upon
You know, you could go see a lawyer instead and get a divorce.
the road, and they walked down the loop trail.
Here, Jordan picks up the story
Doesn't ruin everybody's
in
life.
her own words.
I didn't want to do that trail because I was afraid he was going to fall. And he said I could do this with a blindfold on. And he said I could just put it on, take a step, but I wouldn't even fall. And it kept going through my head that, you are going to fall or something. And then we were arguing some more. And he went to grab my arm or my jacket, and I said, no, I'm going to defend myself. So I kind of let go and I pushed, and he went over.
Plummeting 300 feet to his death.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly how it happened.
He interjects and says, my husband stated he can wear a blindfold and walk around.
Whatever. Did you find a blindfold on him?
A black rag that could have been a blindfold was found near Cody's body at the bottom of the ravine.
Was there a connection?
Only one person knows the answer to that. That's Jordan Graham.
Why does he look like he's about to laugh? Because the story's so stupid, maybe? Yeah. That sounds more like it, yeah.
Friends who were with Cody earlier on the day of his death.
Jordan has a surprise for me. Some of the male folks that were there, they thought maybe sex.
The surprise was, though, something completely different.
Yes.
Yeah, surprises you get pushed off a cliff.
Jordan denies in her confession that Cody's murder was premeditated.
There was no planning on your part to kill Cody?
No.
Okay. You hadn't planned that until
Maybe she just took the opportunity. You know, don't let opportunity go to waste.
the passion of that situation.
She stated that he had turned his back to her. He was facing the cliff with both hands, pushed him in the back off the cliff.
So he would have fallen face first down the hill. Why did you continue to turn around and then push him off?
I think it's because emotions were running so high. I was frustrated, I was angry, I was every emotion I could ever think of, all at once. And I've never felt like that before. I've never experienced such high emotions.
So you just get to kill somebody.
Second degree murder and making misleading statements.
Jordan originally takes a plea of not guilty.
That is correct.
Then she changes her plea during trial?
She decided to enter a
because they were going to find her guilty. They had a lot of evidence.
Second-degree murder.
Jordan Graham is sentenced to 30 years in federal prison with no chance of parole.
It is the first time in my experience as a lawyer, 8 days of marriage and ending it with a homicide.
You could have just left. You don't have to kill somebody.
And Cody's mom would like the answer to just one question.
Why did she do it? If she didn't love him, why did she get married? Why did she say yes to the proposal? That's still the question in my mind to this day, is why.
Because she's a psychopath. That's why. And you got to be careful. You can fall head over heels in love, but you still have to have a little bit of perspective, and you have to make sure it's not someone that's going to ruin your life, because people can. You know, like that. You got to make sure it's someone who will be with you. Make sure you guys are kind of on the same page as far as children go and this go and finances, just to go talk about that stuff. That doesn't mean, you know, you can't have passion. You still got to be smart about it, because like I said, if you fall in love with the wrong person, they can ruin your entire life. Or like this, you can end up dead because you end up marrying a psycho because you were so blinded, you know, by the thought of them that you didn't see that she really wasn't, you know, you shouldn't have been getting married until you knew that she really loved you. So anyway, thanks for watching. You know, another episode at Crane's Bar and Grill, and don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below, you know, and if there's anything else that you would like me to watch or anything. But until then, see you later. Bye.